Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Dead Space for the Xbox Series S. The game was originally released in 2008. Dead Space is a survival horror game developed by EA Redwood Shores. You play as Isaac, an engineer who travels to a space station in search of his girlfriend Nicole. Isaac is accompanied by Zack and Kendra, who enter the Ishimura as they try to find out what happened to the crew. So what is the game like to play? Well, control-wise it's a pretty slick affair with ranged weapons and melee attacks at your disposal. Isaac has special abilities that are unlocked over time, such as stasis and kinesis, and overall it's a much more fluid game than the original survival horror games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Combat is pretty intense as you have to survive the onslaught of all manner of freakish monstrosities. You'll be using flamethrowers, pistols or the trusty railgun to dismember the ever-changing threats. Unfortunately, the inventory is very small, and after an hour or so you'll be doing quite a bit of inventory management, dropping items, using items or being unable to pick up useful gear. As you progress you will find schematics. These allow you to purchase new guns or armor upgrades at the store. You can use a workbench to equip nodes. Nodes allow you to improve your vital statistics to aid you on your quest. As your suit improves, so does its visual appearance, and you'll end up looking like a cool medieval knight caught in a sci-fi nightmare. But it's the enemies in Dead Space that really steal the show. From reanimated corpses to flying necro bat bird things, and just many other creatures that resemble distorted fleshy monsters from movies like The Thing. The variety is excellent, and each foe requires you to adapt your approach, whether that means a different tactic or a different weapon to stop them. Other dangers include sections where you have to avoid clever traps or entering zones with limited oxygen or zero gravity. And there are also some pretty intense boss fights and set pieces that will really test your nerves. Another stellar part of Dead Space is the game world itself. The game takes place on the Ishimura, a terrifying, harsh and disturbed sci-fi hellhole inhabited by your worst nightmares. Early on you'll be fixing a variety of damaged areas to access other ones, in particular the tram system. You'll encounter an asteroid minigame that's a nice change of pace, and there's some really unique anti-gravity wall jumping sections. These really stood out to me as they really disorientate you, especially when you've got enemies floating around in the anti-grav stuff, flying from one wall to another. You can barely tell which way was up. Finally, on gameplay, the story is absolutely spot on. The characters are believable, and it all gives this sort of convincing performance, whether it's the actors or the narrative or the location, it all fits perfectly. It's dark, disturbed, and it's one of the most twisted survival horror games that you could play. For a game made in 2008, the graphics are still of a standard that holds up today. The Ishimura is a bleak, metallic nightmare, the monsters are grotesque abominations, and Isaac's suit and weapons all have this unique and cool quality. Also, the clever integrated menus make the game feel more immersive as you're not always taken out of the game world. In terms of sound, Dead Space is exceptional. The voice actors do a fantastic job of breathing life into their characters. The sound effects are horrific, and it really does stick in your mind in that regard. Add to that the stunning musical score, and all in all, Dead Space has sound work on a par with a high-end movie. Okay, what's good and what's bad? What's good? The game is absolutely terrifying. The monsters are horrific. The visuals are still pretty good by modern standards. Audio-wise, it's perfection. Character progression is well paced, the story is interesting and keeps you enthralled to the end, the weapons are cool as are the special abilities, and the Ishimura is a masterclass in sci-fi horror landscapes. What's bad? The inventory space limitations are unnecessary, and some post-attack animations were very frustrating when dealing with crowds of monsters. So what's the verdict? Dead Space is an all-time survival horror sci-fi classic. It has one of the richest atmospheres in any game I've ever played. The controls are solid, the weapons are cool, and the special powers add some interesting variety to the gameplay. But it's the horror elements that set the game apart from its peers. The monstrosities you encounter in the Ishimura are unforgettable, and the whole experience is tense and will stay with you long after playing. Also, the clever use of anti-gravity adds a nice bit of variety from level to level, and as a whole experience is one of the best games I've ever played. It really is difficult to find any major flaw with the game. and those negatives are really superfluous, never truly impacting the game in a negative way too much. So my score for Dead Space is 9.8 out of 10. Okay, that was the review. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you.